Hey adventurers, I am really excited to come to you to check out a brand spanking new bag. This is the FERNWEH from WANDRD, and it's not even out yet. It actually just launched on Kickstarter. Today we're going to be checking out one of the prototypes for the bag. There will be some changes between this one and the final product, and I'll probably go over that once I can get one of the final ones in my hand. But in the meantime, let's see what they've built. As you all know, we're fans of the WANDRD bags. The WANDRD Provoke is our go-to travel bag right now just because it helps us organize our camera gear as well as has enough space for anything else that we need when we're on the road. This new bag from WANDRD is more of an adventure backpack, and that kind of comes in two folds. So you have adventure in the sense of backpacking, trekking, you know, when you're out in the backcountry or you're going on multi-day hikes. And you also have the travel adventure, somebody who is maybe living on the road for a while out of their backpack, backpacking across Europe, for example. This could be a good option to organize your camera gear as well as everything else that you need. I know when they were designing this bag, they focused on three things: comfort, accessibility, and versatility. So as we check it out today, we're gonna really try to focus on those three aspects just to see how they did. Now right now, for us in this category of a bag, we have two different bags that we use. We have a Low Pro Whistler, which definitely leans more as a camera bag than it does a backpacking bag. It helps us organize our gear. It's comfortable for the most part, especially for a lot of gear, but it doesn't really leave us room for much else. We've taken it backpacking before, but it wasn't that convenient and it was hard to pack everything into it. On the flip side, we have Osprey bags for the outdoors. We like Ospreys just because they fit our bodies nicely and our frames nicely and they're comfortable. But when it comes to organizing, especially when we want to bring camera gear, it makes it a little bit difficult. What we've been doing is either including a camera cube so that we can keep the gear safe, but then accessing it becomes a little difficult, or we just wrap it in clothes just to save on weight. Before we get into those three aspects, let's just go over some overall specs. This bag is 5 pounds unloaded. It is a 50-liter bag and it comes in two different sizes. Like all WANDRD bags, they make it with really great quality. You got YKK zippers, you have a durable water-based PU coat. So basically, talking to the designers, you know, you can, in any sort of light rain or anything of that sort, you should be good with nothing else on it. But if you're in torrential rain, it's always safer to put a rain fly on there. They do have a rain fly specifically designed for this bag, which I don't have right now, but that will be something that you can get along with it. All right, so let's look at the exterior of this bag, and with that, focus primarily on comfort first. When you're looking at a bag on how comfortable it is, there are a couple things that you have to take into consideration, right? First is how you pack your bag. So how you distribute the weight to make sure that it doesn't make you tip over or make sure that there's no awkward spots to where it's putting a hot spot on one particular part of your body. The second would be the padding, and then third would be the fit of how the bag fits on you and how you can adjust it so it fits perfectly to your body. Now in terms of packing the bag, there is a camera cube already in here. We'll look at it in a little more detail. It sits on the bottom of the bag, so you have it close to your bottom of the bag where you want the bulk of the weight, and that's how you would distribute that's probably the heaviest part of what you're carrying. Now this bag is fit for water bladder. We'll go into a little more detail later. The water bladder sits in a different spot than you would expect, but it is to help keep your camera gear dry. That's one thing I'm interested to test out to see how that'll distribute the weight differently. Now looking at the padding, this thing is padded beyond padded. Trying to describe how this feels, but the back panel is very robust. It's thick, but at the same time, it's built with this kind of foam and airy foam, and looks like it allows air circulation really well. They have it running along the straps as well, and even on the waist straps. Really thick, wide waist straps. So they really focused on comfort here, on how padded it is and just how comfortable it'll sit on your back. The word they use, air mesh. Air mesh. Now when it comes to fit for the bag, there are two different bag sizes, but on top of that, there are two different strap sizes, and the straps can be removed or interchanged so you can mix and match to fit your body type. So you may want the bigger bag because you're a bigger person, but maybe you have a shorter torso, so you want the shorter straps. And so that way you can use the shorter straps. On top of that, once you have the straps on here, there are 3 attachment points that you can move the strap to and basically have it start at different heights based on what fits well for you. And it's actually really easy to remove. On top of that, because you're easily able to remove the strap, you can pack it away for if you have to check the bag or you're just trying to remove any of these excess things that are in the way when you just want to carry it more like a duffel. The sternum strap is a nice design as well. Now, a typical sternum strap, you click right in the middle, click. And usually that's plastic buckle or metal buckle. When you do start having heavier weight, that buckle starts to dig into your sternum. They've used a design similar to Peak Design, which I really love the design of how they use their sternum strap. It basically snaps into one side, and when you need it, you disconnect it and move it over. And all you have touching your chest is the actual fabric strap itself. There are no metal pieces, there are no plastic pieces, or any sort of buckles. Plus there are multiple contact points to where you can snap it in so that it is good for your height. Since we're looking at the straps, they do have a small pocket here that you can easily access. It's kind of a mesh pocket. It doesn't zip or close, but it's really tight, so you could put, I don't actually know what you would put there, but you could put something handy. There are a couple straps as well that you can hook anything else you need to. You can put a carabiner on those so that you can hang additional accessories. Now looking at the waist belt, this thing is a fatty in a good way. It's wide, it's cushioned, it looks comfortable. Now this guy is removable as well. It's passed through the back panel and Velcroed in. I'm not gonna remove it just because it's gonna take me a little bit of time. And you can remove that so that if you don't need it or you know you're not carrying as much weight and you wanna save on this, you can get rid of it. Also, when you're traveling, it just gets in the way sometimes. You don't want it to snag on things, again, just like the straps. You know, a lot of times with the bags that we have now, we basically do this and try to keep everything tight, but it'd be a lot nicer to just be able to completely remove them. On one side, you have a mesh pocket. This is something I would probably put my phone in just because I like to have easy access to it. There's a zipper pocket on this side, which I'll show you in a minute, but if I have it zippered, then it's just that one extra step to get to my phone. There's also a couple straps here that you can hang things off of. I know some people like to hang Nalgene bottles or anything of that sort that they want easily accessible, or just any sort of anything you need access to. Reminds me of, you know, if you're wearing a climbing harness and being able to hook up your drawers and stuff. And then on this side, you have a massive, massive zipper pocket. This alone is probably one of the bigger zipper pockets I've seen on a waist strap. This is an iPhone 11 Pro, regular size, not the big one, but easily fits in there with extra space. All right, before we talk about access for the bag, let's look at the rest of the exterior. So on the right side, I don't know which side you would call this. I guess left side, because that's where my left hand would reach. Left side of the bag, you have two compression straps to compress the bag even tighter, or to hook up anything that you need to carry, as well as a zippered side access, which is really similar to their WANDRD with the Provoke bag, to access your camera cube. So easy access to your camera gear. On the flip side, again, two more compression straps. I'm gonna remove this so that I can access their water bottle holder. The whole idea is they wanted to put together a pocket that can carry your water bottle, separate it, but also secure it, right? So if you're traveling, you're backpacking through Europe or even backpacking outside, you wanna be able to secure it. Or if you're traveling and you wanna check your bag, you know, if you have a water bottle in here, this way it's secure in there. I think I still like to have the mesh option so that I could easily pull it out rather than having to access the zipper every time. But you know, it's gonna be preference, and I'm gonna see how it works out. Now, just so you can visualize the water bottles in here, this is a standard Hydro Flask 20-ounce bottle. It fits in there with plenty of space. And when it's zipped up, boom. Nice and secure. Still has space up here if you can pack away anything additional. This is the larger 32 ounce, if I'm not wrong. Again, fits in here, no problem. Easy to zip up, it's not super tight fit, and voila. You can also pack a tripod in here. The zipper goes both ways, so if you pack a tripod and it needs to stick out a little bit, you can leave that top open. Also, it's hard to see, but along the exterior, you have loops kind of placed all over this bag. And that is to give you different options. So you have loops here, you have loops there. That's to give you different options for the additional strap accessories. So if you have additional items that you want to strap to the bag, or you have taller items, whatever it is that you just need to secure additionally, you have a lot of different options. And these straps are really easy to use. I can throw it over here, and maybe I want to crisscross it all the way across. So now I have an extra strap here. I could crisscross another one. That way I can pack something on here. They have them on the sides, they have them on the back. There's just a lot of different places that you can put it on. Now on the bottom of the bag, there is a zipper here, which then I can pull out. I don't know. There's a Velcro. Here. So this additional flap down here helps you hold a sleeping bag, sleeping pad, tripod, whatever you want. And the way this works is you just pull it across and then you put it into these accessory loops that we mentioned earlier to secure them down. On top of that, this section has the Velcro section where it was in. Because this has to stay open if you're using this strap, the Velcro section is for the rain fly so that it still stays secure inside there. There are also a couple tuck away straps here, and these are for if you're carrying skis or if you're carrying ice picks or anything of that sort. We're not that hardcore, we haven't really done any of that, so we haven't had a need for it, but it's essentially a tuck away strap that then gives you an additional third strap so that you have 3 along the sides. So let's talk about accessibility to this bag. There are 4 access points, which is spectacular because when you're packing a bag and you can't access your stuff, that's the most frustrating thing. The first one is the one I mentioned earlier, which is access to your camera cube, or if it's not your camera cube in there, then you have access to the bottom of your bag through this little door. So boom, easy access, just like the other, the Provoke bag. I can have this on my back, swing it around, access my camera here, zip it up, and it's still on my back. The second access point is on your back. Now there is a zipper that runs along the back, kind of about here. They made the padding higher just so it's comfortable on your back and so you don't feel any of that zipper stuff. But if you unzip it, ta-da! So now you have access to all your camera gear, and this is probably primarily only going to be used if you're carrying camera gear. I guess it could be used to access everything else, but this is nice just because you're able to get to what you need and still, you know, not touch whatever's packed up here. Unlike a lot of outdoor backpacks, this one has the traveler in mind because it has a section for your laptop, up to a 15-inch laptop actually, which is accessed right here on this back door. Now traditionally, outdoor gear, you would have your water bladder against your back. In this case, since your laptop is here and your camera gear is here, they're trying to keep any sort of liquids away from this stuff because you don't want your liquids to touch your electronics or risk of any of it leaking and damaging your equipment. Now there isn't a loop right now, but I know that they'll be adding a bladder loop here. So in the case that you're not carrying camera gear or you're just using it just for your outdoor gear, you can still put your bladder back here where your laptop would go and still run it through, run the hose through. So that touches a little bit on the versatility. There is also kind of a little secret compartment here right at the top of this back panel. And this is for your passport or any documents that you need quick access to, but you know, not make it in an obvious spot. All right, so we've covered access point 1 and 2. Let's look at number 3. Before we get to number 3, you're probably wondering what this guy is. And this is actually where your water bladder is gonna go now. There's a loose elastic carry or little bucket here that you can put on with a loop for the top of the bladder to hold it up there, and then you can run the hose through. So this is what I'm kind of interested in testing out. You know, I imagine because camera gear is going to be so heavy and everything on the back that this won't feel too off balance because it's further away from your body. But it is an interesting fact that they put it up here. I've never seen that design before. On top of that, there is some additional area here that you could pack like a jacket or something you need access to. Or if you decide that you're not carrying camera gear and all your gear and you put your bladder where that laptop is, this is just an additional area for you to carry some extra gear, some lightweight gear. But this whole front flap is not just for the water bladder. If you unzip it, whoa! I now have access to the majority of the bag. This is impressive. So now I can actually access all the way to the bottom of the bag. If you have a camera cube in here, like it is now, I can still actually pack some extra stuff in here. There's some extra room. Then otherwise, you can have access to this. If you don't have the camera cube in here, you have access to everything that you need here. Now there is this bucket. This bucket is a way we'll see it from the top, but it's a way for you to separate out and organize your things if you want to. That way, you know, if you wanted to have some items here, but still not have it fall out or spill out if you were to open it, you still have this bucket space where you can pack away things. You can access the bucket from here. There is a little zipper, and the bucket is completely removable if you just decide you don't like it or you want to save on that little extra weight. So this is access point number 3. Access point number 4 is at the top of the bag. I'm gonna flip this up because there's a little lip that covers the zipper up here just to protect it again from a little more moisture or water. But if I unzip the top, the entire top opens up to that bucket section that I was talking about earlier. So now I have access to the bucket, or if I remove this bucket completely, then it would just access the entire bag as a whole. There is a zippered section up here that you could separate some smaller items, but otherwise it's just kind of this black hole feel. You have access to everything that you need that is in that bucket. So as you can see, this bag can be used a lot of different ways. On top of that, it's still clean, which is really nice. So it's not like there's a bunch of loose items or different straps that are just hanging and dangling. It's a clean design, but you can basically configure it to how you want. This is probably how I'd be using it. I would want my camera cube in there. They actually have 3 different camera cube sizes, so that if you're only carrying a little smaller gear, the smallest size you won't be able to access from this side access, but the medium and the large you can. In the large, you would have a lot more camera gear if you wanted to load up the entire bag of camera stuff. But the cube can be taken out. You can adjust the straps to fit how you want. The bucket, you can adjust how you want it to. It has kind of the backpacker, the outdoor backpacker in mind in terms of comfort and everything, but also the traveler adventure in mind. There are handles all over this thing. You have top handle, you have a nice thick oversized side handles so that it's easy to pick up wherever it's laying. The side ones are also big enough for you to pass through on your suitcase, like that. Overall, really well thought out bag. I'm excited to actually test it out in the wild. Right now, we've been kind of still wary because of you know, just social distancing and everything. And plus, it's freaking hot here in Vegas. But if you want to see some photos of this in action and some videos with more details, go check out the Kickstarter, the links below. When it comes to an adventure bag, especially for people who carry camera gear, this definitely fits a need that I haven't seen done very well yet. And like I mentioned, I know they're gonna be making some additional improvements for the final one, so I'm excited to see what they're gonna be doing there. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you haven't yet, be sure to sign up for our blog newsletter. We've been doing monthly giveaways of cool gear from brands that we love, backpacks, shoes, things like that, so we're gonna continue to do that. And let me know what you like or dislike about this bag so far based on what I've shown you. Thanks guys, and I will see you soon.